Hi, welcome to another edition of Business Bites from Bauer Media Audio here in Northern Ireland. My name is David Ty, the Managing Director of Bauer Media, and each week we delve into the world of business for an interesting conversation. This week, I'm delighted to welcome our guest. It's Chloe Henning, and Chloe is a Director of Vava Influence. Chloe, welcome to Business Bites.
Hi, David. Thank you so much for having me on today.
That's all right. It's our pleasure. Let's get straight into the conversation because influencer marketing seems to be a real buzzword over the last couple of years. And I don't think it's going away. So before we talk about that, let's just talk a little bit about the company. So Vava Influence, love the name. How did it come around? How did your business come around?
So about 2 years ago, I met my business partner, Francesca, and I was kind of working in the kind of blogger content creation world already. I had my own social presence. I started taking my then friend Fran along to kind of PR events, influencer events, collaborations. And she turned around to me one day and was like, is no one really focusing on this in Northern Ireland and down south in the UK? They all had their dedicated influencer marketing agencies, and Belfast just didn't have one that specialized in influencer marketing yet. We saw that as a gap, and we were both very young at the time, but we decided to dive in because if we didn't jump on that, then someone else was going to beat us to it, and we don't like to be beaten, we like to be first. So that's kind of how it started and why it started, and it's been growing very fast ever since then.
Great story. And so you saw the gap and you took your chance. So let's talk about then how the business has grown over the last few years. So influencer marketing, it's for those that get it, they really get it. But for those who don't get it, I think there's quite a few questions that may remain unanswered. So tell us a little bit about the whole principle of influencer marketing and why it's working.
So basically, influencer marketing is when you use someone with a large following online to promote your business or service. And there's three main ways that you can do this. So the first is gifting. So gifting is when you say you have a product business, you would send out your product to a set list of influencers to kind of review, see how they find the product, and hopefully post. Now, with gifting, it's a bit of gray area. It's kind of like a traditional PR strategy where you send out press releases. You don't know who's going to pick up and do coverage of that gift. And the second option is a paid sponsorship option. So that is basically when you pay an influencer to produce a set amount of content on their pages. Now you have full creative control of what the content looks like, what the key points are included, which is obviously great, but this can be a little bit more pricey than the gifting option. And then the third way people work with influencers is events. So events is basically when you throw an event, a brand launch, a first birthday, a launch of a new product, a rebrand. You throw an event. Now that could be a party, a drinks reception, a brunch, and you invite an influencer heavy guest list to kind of do coverage of the event.
Okay, so when you're trying to get up to 300 followers, like I am on Instagram,
Yeah.
what's the tipping point? So what are people looking for? What are the magic numbers to become a true influencer?
So the key to becoming kind of a true influencer is slowly building up a loyal and engaged following and having a niche that you post about regularly, that you are getting views and people are interested in what you're talking about, kind of finding that niche and finding your audience that are really interested in that niche. I mean, it used to be on Instagram, it used to be the main kind of niches were fashion and then beauty and then travel. But now, once we've dived into TikTok, there's niches that haven't really had followings built around them. So on TikTok, there's niches like people reviewing the best afternoon tea, people only focusing on junk food and the best burgers in the world and traveling around and doing the best burgers. There's a dog that specializes in balancing things on its head. There really is no limits anymore to what your niche can be. So you can really dive into something that you're interested or good at and start creating consistent content to build your following around that niche.
Okay, so let's say I found my niche.
Yeah.
How do I get connected, and how do I make money? Do I make money from it? What are the benefits?
Of becoming an influencer.
Or
So
even using the influencer, like how? I mean, does your organization kind of get in the middle of all of that and try to make
yeah.
things work?
So say you are a business that wants to promote your brand, get a wee bit more exposure. We are the middleman between organizing your business with the best fit influencers. So there's a lot of different aspects to kind of look at when you're picking to work with an influencer and which influencers to work with. Small, micro, nano, macro, like there's so many different types, styles, engagement rates, and things that you need to consider before you implement your influencer marketing strategy. And that's kind of what we specialize and put together for our brands.
So one of the questions that crops up from time to time around the social media space is the influence of social media on young people, especially around things like body image or unrealistic expectations of the world. Chloe, where do you think the social media space is in that area currently?
I feel like it is mental health, especially with young people and young females, have previously been quite affected by social media and kind of unrealistic expectations, photo touching, all of that there has been something that's really negatively affected people's mental health in the past. I feel like there's been a bit of a shift in that sense where people are becoming progressively more aware that it is not a great thing to do to touch up your photos, and that style of raw, realistic life videos content tends to perform better now. It's more preferred than that aesthetically pleasing, picture perfect that used to be very trendy on Instagram. There has been that shift in content style, which I think has been great for the industry, because nobody wants to put that pressure on young people or young girls, and likewise young men feeling that they need to look a certain way or be a certain way to be posting on social media. I think with the rise of video content, we are seeing that a lot more, less editing of body image, faces, all of that there.
So you think there's a lot more honesty in the space than perhaps there was before?
There's definitely a lot more honesty in the space than there was before. I mean, Instagram went through a real phase of being picture perfect. And I suppose that came very naturally from pictures in magazines used to be edited and people felt like they needed to keep up. We've seen the flip of that now, and people kind of showcasing their flaws quite openly on social media.
Okay, so you're running an awards. I think it's the second year of your awards coming up in September. Tell us a little bit about the awards night. Why are we doing it? What's going to happen?
Yeah, so we set up the Vava Awards last year, and it is the first All Ireland Influencer Awards, and they were set up to celebrate content creation as an industry in Ireland. We wanted to celebrate the fantastic work that our creators do, both in the north and south of Ireland. There can be some negative connotations around the word influencer and blogger, but realistically, they are really talented content creators that produce amazing content for a lot of different brands. It's not an easy job. It takes a lot of dedication in both building up your following and then maintaining and brand deals is a lot of hard work. So we just wanted to celebrate that. And it is an award ceremony where we have 13 different awards spread out over lots of different categories to kind of suit a wide range of influencers. And yeah, it's a fabulous night and a fabulous night out for all of the influencers, businesses involved, for some great networking.
Well, I've been a passionate supporter of the work that you guys have been doing, and I know that we're sponsoring an award on the evening as well. And I suppose if you're looking to sponsor something, if there was ever going to be an event that was going to be shared on social media, it was probably get a bunch of influencers in a room, and I'm sure it's going to get some traction, I would imagine.
It definitely does. We have over 70 influencers attending on the night. So it is one of those events that kind of does get plastered all over social media. And all of the brands involved get their own branding. This year, they're all getting their own personalized disco ball, which is our decor theme for this year. So no, it is a widely covered event on social media.
Well, Chloe, I wish you and Fran and the whole team there best of success into the future. It's a really interesting business that you've got, and we look forward to the awards night. If anyone wants to get in touch with you guys about the awards or anything else, how do they make contact? I imagine you're on social media.
We are on social media, so it's at Vava Influence, or my email address is chloe@vavainfluence.com.
Brilliant. Chloe Henning, Director of Vava Influence, thank you for being our guest this week.
Thank you so much, David, for having me.